Santa Clara can't walk into 2026 asking the NFC for permission. This team has a player coming back from a crazy injury, defensive depth being pushed to the limit, an undrafted rookie trying to turn into a heavy steel inside the trenches, a top 50 pick who has to prove the investment was worth it, and a third-round running back with a brutal job. Take hits off Christian McCaffrey's body and make this ground game feel dangerous again. This is not cute off-season chatter. This is contender pressure. If you feel that Niners pressure, subscribe right now because today's message is coming in hot. The first hit of the day is almost unbelievable, because only with the 49ers does defensive depth become a storyline away from the field. Keion White didn't get hurt taking a snap. He didn't go down during practice. He didn't limp out of a game. He was shot in the ankle during an alleged incident involving rapper Lil Baby at a Bay Area event around Super Bowl time. The good news, and the only thing that matters there, is that it was not life-threatening. But come on, for a defense that already got crushed by injuries from every angle, that is the kind of thing that makes the fan base stare at the ceiling and think, again? White spoke with Kyle Odegaard of R.org, and the update came without a huge guarantee, without cheap tough talk. "I feel pretty good. I'm just taking everything one day at a time and seeing where we are," White said. But the detail that pulls the excitement back is pretty simple. He showed up at a celebrity basketball game in Arizona, but only as a coach. He did not play. So that ankle still does not look ready for real load yet. That is where it gets tough. San Francisco traded for White before last year's deadline because this team badly needed edge help. A lot of people were dreaming of a bigger swing, someone like Trey Hendrickson, but John Lynch didn't want to pay a heavy price for a rental. White wasn't a rental, fine, but he didn't exactly explode either. 12 tackles and 1.5 sacks in 9 games with the Niners. In 2026, he is a rotation piece. Depth. A useful body who can help Nick Bosa and Michael Williams get some air, while Romello Height fights to become that third-down pass rusher. But if White has to play too many snaps, something probably went wrong. That is the dry read. His value is being available, fresh, physical, reliable. After what 2025 showed everybody, depth is not a bonus, it is survival. Now feel the shift in energy. Keion White is depth that has to stay upright. Bryson Eason is depth trying to kick the door open. And I love this kind of story because it pushes back against the lazy read on the 49ers draft process. Every year, people line up ready to laugh at Santa Clara like this team can't find defensive players anywhere. Then here comes an undrafted free agent from Tennessee, 323 pounds, a body built to plug up the middle of the road, SEC experience, and suddenly the conversation isn't glamour. It is about impact. Gary Davenport of Bleacher Report pointed to Eason as the best UDFA in the Niners class, and the description fits exactly the kind of profile you watch in May, June, and July, before the real noise begins. A guy who arrived in Knoxville as an oversized inside linebacker and left as a heavy defensive tackle built to close rushing lanes. The production never blew up the way people expected. The tape had highs and lows. That's why he went undrafted. But physical tools? He has them. Big game experience? He has that too. A clear role? Absolutely. And for San Francisco, that really matters because the interior defensive line can't live off pretty names alone. The team added Osa Odigizua. It has new pieces. It has rotation. It has competition. But it still needs people who can handle heavy traffic inside. Eason is not coming in to become a pass rush star. Nobody serious is selling that. In 2025, he had 31 tackles and 4.5 tackles for loss in 13 games at Tennessee. Across his college career, he totaled 105 tackles, 22 tackles for loss, and 4.5 sacks. The package says one thing: he eats space, reads the game well, and can do the dirty work so other guys can shine. That is the part people forget. A contender is not built only with first-round picks. A contender needs some anonymous force beating 2 blockers in the third quarter when the other offense is trying to steal clock and quiet the stadium. If Eason can turn that size into discipline, he does not need to become a headline. He just needs to make the coaches stare at the final roster and think, we can't let this guy go. And if Eason is the raw bet nobody drafted, Alfred Collins is the other side of the story. The investment San Francisco can't treat like an endless experiment. Pick 43 overall, top 50, second round. When you take a defensive tackle that big, 6'6", 332 pounds, you are not just asking for a body on the bus. You are telling the league, this guy is going to change how offenses try to run against us. So the question has to be asked without a soft landing. In 2026, is Collins just going to be a big body, or is he going to become a big problem? Frank Gore saw something in him. In October of 2025, after that game-saving forced fumble against the Rams in Week 5, Gore said the Texas lineman was taking steps and could become a real big-time player. And when Frank Gore talks physical football, I listen. That play against the Rams felt like the start of a climb. It felt like the moment where the rookie understood, I belong in this league. But the breakout didn't arrive the way the fan base wanted. A hip injury kept Collins out of Week 10, and his season ended more like an occasional flash than a true statement. To be fair, a 332-pound tackle is not always going to jump off the box score. A lot of his job is absorbing blocks, locking down gaps, and forcing the running back to cut where the defense is waiting. But a top 50 pick can't live forever on invisible impact. At some point, he has to win one-on-ones with violence, move the pocket, wreck plays in the backfield, and make the opposing coordinator change calls. Jordan Davis and Vita Vea are high-end examples of what this kind of player can become when he is not just occupying space. T'Vondre Sweat might be the more realistic comparison for early impact because he also found ways to get closer to the ball. Collins had 17 tackles as a rookie. That doesn't end the conversation, but it turns up the heat. The good news is the 2026 plan can help him. With Osa Odigizua and Grayson Halton in clearer passing situations, Collins doesn't have to pretend he's the main pass rusher. He can dominate the first mission, fix a run defense that over the last few years has been below the standard this team demands. And if he does that, everything changes. Third downs get longer, Bosa breathes easier, opposing play action loses its bite. The defense starts dictating contact again. I want the fan base's read on this. Are you still buying Alfred Collins as a heavy piece of the future? Or does 2026 already need to be the year of the immediate answer? Because I'll say this, with the 49ers, patience exists, but the championship window is not waiting for anybody to learn slowly. And now we get to the point where the conversation stops being defensive depth and becomes pure offensive demand. Kaelon Black does not have the luxury of being some nice rookie waiting for the game to slow down. He arrives with pressure on his chest because the 49ers' run game situation doesn't leave room for fantasy. Christian McCaffrey touched the ball 450 times including the postseason. 450. In June, he turns 30. If San Francisco pretends that does not matter, they're playing with fire inside their own house. Black wasn't even invited to the combine, and still the 49ers had him as the second running back on their board and took him in the third round. That says a lot. This team didn't make that move to decorate the roster. It made that move because it badly needed a number 2 that Kyle Shanahan can put on the field without feeling like he's handing the play call to the defense. And this is where the pressure gets brutal. Jordan James and Isaac Guerendo combined for 0 regular season carries last year. 0. If the coaching staff felt completely comfortable with that group, maybe that third-round pick goes elsewhere. But San Francisco picked Black, and a pick like that demands return. The Niners' run game was ugly in efficiency, 30th out of 32 teams in yards per carry last season. That is unacceptable for a franchise built on rhythm, play action, motion blocking, tired defenses, and Shanahan putting linebackers in mental crisis before the snap. Shanahan himself said over the weekend that the goal is for the run game to be top 10 in the NFL. Good. But goals don't block defensive tackles. Goals don't turn 2nd and 9 into 2nd and 4. Guys like Kaelon Black have to help make that happen. And I'll be direct. If Black can get 10 to 15 carries per game and hover around 5 yards per attempt, the 49ers become disgusting to defend. Because then McCaffrey doesn't have to get worn down in September just for the team to survive in December. Then Brock Purdy plays with defenses respecting the ground game. Then play action starts biting again. Then Debo, Kittle, Mike Evans, and that receiver group catch defenses hesitating for half a second. And half a second in this offense is death. But if Black falls into the same drawer as other third-round running backs who never became what the team needed, the tone changes fast. You can't talk like a contender if your offense can't run against big defenses. You can't talk Super Bowl if, against a physical front, everything falls on Purdy and long third downs. So when OTAs kick off this Thursday, look at Black before you look at the easy shine. Dejon Stribling may start behind veterans and help a lot on special teams. Romello Height may be used on third downs. Carver Willis may take time. Grayson Halton should rotate along the line. Black is different. Black has a clear path to immediate impact. And on a team trying to get back to the Super Bowl, a clear path is not a gift. It is pressure. In the end, the message is brutally simple. The 49ers don't need pretty talk. They need answers on the field. Keion White has to become reliable depth, not another concern. Bryson Eason has to turn size into real use. Alfred Collins has to start looking like a top 50 pick, because championship defenses do not live on hidden promise. And Kaelon Black may have the most urgent mission of all: protect McCaffrey, restore respect to the run game, and bring balance back to the offense. This season won't accept soft excuses. This is San Francisco. The standard is high. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and come back for the next video, because the Niners' pressure is only getting started.